Holy Spirit of God, Divine Mother, we give thanks to feel your grace and presence today. Help us to learn more and more every day how to set aside our thoughts, our ego's willfulness, our fears, all that is unlike the original presence of God. And that is the original presence that we were created to be, to feel like, to live like. Guide us on how to return to Eden, how to return to the consciousness of God, and how to live that presence every day. And then how to bring that presence to each other. And we celebrate in advance, seeing all people of all nations throughout all time, throughout all dimensions, all dancing in the one song, the universe of God. And so it is.
From Albert Einstein. God did not create evil. Just as darkness is the absence of light, evil is the absence of God. Evil is not like faith or love that exist, just as light and heat exist. Evil is the result of what happens when man does not have God's love present in his heart. It's like the cold that comes when there is no heat, or the darkness that comes when there is no light. The world we have created is a product of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. If we want to change the world, we have to change our thinking. No problem can be solved with the same consciousness that created it. We must learn to see the world anew. And so it is. Please join me in reading our mission statements, located in the white sheets in the seat backs in front of you. And together we say, the global center for Christ consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to awakening the inner Christ and to creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance. And so it is.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being with us. Would you be so kind as to share what it is you'd like me to cover today? What topics?
Getting distracted from the goal of Christ consciousness.
Okay.
Living as a mystic.
Hold on one sec. What was the last one?
Living as a mystic.
That sounds like a song, isn't it?
Yeah.
Living as a mystic, or something, right? It's got some melody to it. Thank you. Hold on one sec. Yep.
Staying positive in the darkness.
Okay. Even if you have something on your mind and you haven't shared it, rest assured we'll get there somehow. And do that, believe in that. Like even if you're remaining silent, just God, I would appreciate, any words you use, that something come through. And even topics that you didn't think were relevant to you today, and we cover, they'll be relevant. Just live in a state of belief and wonderment, The way a child trusts its parents to put food on the table, which generally happens. I know there are extenuating circumstances that are more challenging sometimes, but generally speaking, let's learn to walk in the light of God, and let's trust in the process that God is and will continue to take care of us, including downloads that we need out of a song on the radio or a movie or, it's one thing I've always done is I just always felt like I'm able to see God everywhere and hear God's voice everywhere. There's a statement from A Course in Miracles, a great teaching of Christ consciousness. God's voice speaks to me all through the day. That's not like an affirmation of you're suddenly a channel and you hear the voice. It is already speaking. Some of us think we would like to attain the ability to hear God's voice, which implies you can't and it's far away. Are we already on to something there? So, yeah. See? So instead, imagine being so wonderfully arrogant, I mean this in a good way, that you would imagine that you deserve to hear the voice of God. Instead of being falsely humble, do the other and just go, no, I mean, I can hear the voice of God and believe it. Like it happens all the time. So often, the synchronicities of life. So often that, sometimes we are wowed and surprised, which is a good thing because that means it's happening and you see it. But it'll become something you're so used to, but never take it for granted. This morning, for whatever reason, I was taking a shower. That's not the thing I mean, for no reason. For no reason, I just started blurting the song, Let It Be. Let it be. And then this morning, AV folks are talking, so what song? And one of our board members said, how about Let It Be? And I'm like, wow, And then Daniel was trying to cue it up and checking it out. And I said, you got it okay? And he said, yeah. And I said, if not, let it be. And I didn't mean to say that. I just said, let it be. And we both went, oh. But you're walking in this synchronicity. And we have our stuff. We make mistakes. We slip. We do this, that, the other. We doubt. We fear. Any words and things happen. But bouncing back, and realizing. I've always had this feeling. There's lectures, themes when churches on tour. I would go on tour all the time and they would say, what's your topic? And I would say, living the Christ life. Because that was a great generic topic. I could go anywhere. Churches would freak out if I said, what would you like me to talk about today? I'd get ministers going, apparently he's unprepared, and they don't realize I'm actually more prepared than you when you rehearse your speeches, lady, or guy. But they didn't understand that, so I would have to give them a topic, Living the Christ life was the theme. But living the Christ life is sort of along the same lines as living mastery, which one of you sort of is describing living as a mystic in this morning's request. It's living this, but not just by wearing a wizard's gown and calling yourself a wizard. It's not just because of the particular accessories you wear or feature in your life, a cool appearance. Really walking in the light of God. There's 3 levels, and this came up yesterday or recently. The concept, light, love, and life. The light of God is in your upper 3 centers because this is the Trinity of God that is up in heaven. Heaven isn't actually located somewhere. Like we think we pray and we look to the heavens, which is a good thing to do metaphorically. But you could also ask yourself, what are you looking at? Imagine like Jesus shows up and goes, what you doing? Talking to God. Oh, really? The tiles? The ceiling tiles? No. Where? Outer space? So if it's up in outer space that direction, does that mean the people on the other side of the planet should look down? To see, where are you looking? People don't realize the compulsion to look up. Even that many of you have seen the Native American symbols of someone standing on a cliff or a mountain like this. What are you looking at? Your heart and soul is here. Your arms come out and you're saying, be with me. But it isn't you out there, be with me. You're actually holding the container here of the presence of God already, right here. So the Trinity of God is with you because the Trinity of God is you. But I don't always remember that. Sometimes I forget this and I drop down into this place, which isn't my highest self, but it is a higher self. What would be wrong with being in my heart? Nothing. If your heart is plugged into this, God, you can actually have your heart disconnected from God. You could have good intentions. You can talk love and forgiveness, but not even know the source of it, God. And then you can be a bit plugged into your heart, work on love and whatever, but then be disconnected from the third part of us, the divine part, the soul part, and then the lower three centers of the human part. And the human part is not evil, it's not wicked, it's not even there. It's just a dream. We're dreaming that we are humans, but we're actually divine beings just having a human experience. It's for today. How you doing today? I'm doing great, but weirdest thing happened. Today I decided to dream I'm a human. Really? What's that like? God would say. What's that like? Oh, it's the weirdest thing. I no longer remember my divinity. You're kidding. No. How did that happen? I don't know. I just suddenly don't remember my divinity. Well, then what? Well, at least I stayed in touch with some, like 50% with divinity. How does that look? I sort of live in a state of love and trust. Good for you. And it's like walking in the Garden of Eden. Great. Well, it would be, except I left that too. Where'd you go? Hell. Where you get to have relationships. Really? What's that like? Well, it's love, but it's not real love. These beings would look at you like, what? Yeah, it's love. Lowercase. What's lowercase? We know everything to be divine in uppercase. What's lowercase love? It's weird because you have it one day for somebody and then you don't have it the next day. It's called falling out of love. How do you fall out of heaven? See, the fall again. So the idea is that there's the light of God, the light of God up here, the love of God here, but the life of being in touch with God is waiting for everybody. The light of God is a place of inspiration. What does light do? In fact, I heard the reading just then and I went, oh, that's brilliant. I might include that. What does light do? It brings you light, meaning clarity, illumination, and warmth. Light is what gives you inspiration. An artist can think, I'm so amazing. I paint and I have all these ideas. A song came through, and it's like, it doesn't come through. It originates somewhere. Where? From your painful experiences. That's okay. But if you're going to write from your painful experiences, maybe you could still include, and there's a way out. Maybe just include hope. Even if you're a painter and you do nothing but madness and darkness in your paintings because that's what you feel. Somewhere in your paintings, feature hope. Maybe that could be maybe even just your signature. Whatever, somehow, a little spark of light, telling people in the darkest times there's hope, whether it's a song, a poem, or whatever it happens to be. But truly, the most profound work is inspiration. We sometimes, and I call it sometimes downloads. We're just like, on any topic, any of us can do this, on any topic. Some of us think of it as, I went into meditation and I got guidance. It's the same thing. Downloads come when we are in our most humble and open, receptive state. When I say we, look at my arms naturally do this because I am here. My soul, the chooser, is right here. So to the heavens, God, be with me today. Let me feel your presence. And that's beautiful. And that's the way of the mystic. I'm just always feeling the presence. I'm always affirming. I'm always praying. I'm always chanting and so on and so on. Beautiful. But you're not in your body. You can't just call upon the light of God. You also have to integrate it into your heart, which is called love. How do you do that? Well, it means loving God. It means loving yourself. It means the willingness to love everyone. It means love, forgiveness, compassion, patience. It's heart chakra stuff, humanitarian-like thinking. Instead of, well, that's not my issue, where are we in here? When you say, that's not my issue, there's this person, they have issues and I don't. I'm having an argument with them. They have issues and I don't. What you're doing is you're saying, I'm not living it completely. I'm just talking it. This is a place of integration. You can't talk heart chakra, even though people do. Man, I'm just so heart-centered because I talk softly. No, you're not. No, you're not. It's just you're talking softly. I mean, it's just funny. It just, it's weird. It's like you're auditioning to be Kwai Chang Caine in the Kung Fu series. I don't know what I'm feeling today. So it's just really soft, and that doesn't make you a mystic. You can be a mystic and go, hey, man, how's it going? Yes! And sound very non-spiritual. But you're every bit of you're pitching a ball, you're throwing a ball. You can be doing sports, basketball, and totally be in the zone. Don't tell me you can't be. Don't say it's all, you have to be all soft. And no. And I'd want you to understand. I would want anybody in my life, and I for myself, I want to be integrated. I want to be able to do everything with God. I want to meditate in communion with God, but then live it all the way to the root center. The root chakra should be able to mirror and reflect that you're plugged into God. So your prosperity, your health, your vitality. And I'm not saying if a person's sick, they're not spiritual, because stuff happens on this planet. So don't leap into judging when someone who seemed to be spiritual, has a problem in their life of some kind. Hey, it is what it is. But we're needing to learn, ultimately, the light of God surrounds us and it integrates. It's all right here. The light of God can't be dimmed. All we can do is drop and get further and further from it. And it looks like there's no light. What if we go all the way to the root center? It's the symbol of Hades, Tartarus, which comes from the same word torturous. Going to Tartarus, going into hell. Well, no, hell's some other place. No, it's in us. Hell is a deep, dark place, just like the pelvis and colon. It's symbols of hell within you. Your body has everything symbolically. You have glands that symbolize the Trinity of God. Why are we willing to own that, but not willing to own? And you also have within you hell. The dark, deep, dark places, usually of past wounds. What's the colon? A place of the past. It's all the things that need to be eliminated, but don't always eliminate. People don't realize the incredibly, startlingly perfect nature of life, in a sense, that if you have issues of any kind, even when waste is moving through your body, something in it's going to go, wait, and grab hold of the side of the colon walls and go, apparently you have some stuff that I symbolize, so I'm going to hang out here. And it starts eating a wall in the colon. I mean, it's true. I know you didn't expect to hear this conversation, nor did I expect to bring it there. But people don't want to talk about hell. They don't want to talk about death. They don't want to talk about darkness. And they don't usually at parties talk about colon therapy. It's all the same. It's all darkness, and it's sad, and it's fearful stuff. But when you are made of Teflon, nothing sticks. I don't want things sticking here. I don't want things sticking in any organ. And just because I don't want it to doesn't mean it doesn't. What I mean by I don't want it to is I'm not, that's not my goal. That's not what I'm here for. Let everything move through. Let everything, just the light of God shine. The light of God is me, as me, through me. Bring that presence in. Affirming the presence of God is going to help. Seeing, but also acting like it. Learn to live and see through God's eyes. Bring that presence in and be joyful and give thanks constantly that presence is right here first. Secondly, great, man, now that I'm really learning to commune with God, prayer, meditation, I'm really wanting to welcome that into my heart. I want to be a more loving, forgiving, patient person. Then good, start integrating that. Breathe that in. Every day, just breathe that in. This is the love of God. And some people will say, yes, I want to know the love of God. Well, be careful with that. I know you do, but you have to understand there's phases. Ultimately, we're all searching for the light of God and don't realize it. But we're also then searching next step down. We're looking for the love of God. Bless you. But sometimes people don't realize there's a group of people that don't even believe in the love of God. Are you one of those? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you were, maybe you're not now. Then there's people that go, well, I don't even know what it looks like. So they can't find the love of God or the love inside to live in a state of love because they don't even know what it looks like. There's people that do know what it looks like. They see it, but they're so afraid of it, they slap it down, they slam it down, they run from it even, which is another group. Not just the ones that say, I want to know the love of God, but I don't know how to really process this, how to do this. There's actually a group of people that even if they believe in it, they run from it. Run can take a million forms. Running from love, whether it's love from others, love from a group, love from a person, love from God, it can take the form literally of you find love at a center, you find love with a person or persons, and you just, by coincidence, you move away. But it could be a subconscious tactic to run from love. I'm not saying every time you move, you must be running from love. I'm saying that's one thing that can happen. Other times we can run from love just by finding fault with it. I've never felt so much love. What are you up to? It's all of a sudden there's this, you've got to be up to something, and it's that latter group that I'm talking about is a very challenging group, because if you're a decent person and you like helping people, it's kind of a drag to help and have them turn a very suspicious eye on you. What are you up to? You got to want something from me, And for me as a spiritual teacher, people might think, okay, I really like this talk. And then if I end it with, and if you're interested in any books I've written, they're in the book, and they go, oh, that's it. Yeah, this was all about selling a book. They won't note that I usually forget to mention that I've written books. They won't go, that's amazing. I've heard 10 talks and only once has he brought up that he has books available. They're going to go, there it is. People that look for the flaws and look for fault finding, that tend towards fault finding, you can take it personally, but the truth is they're running from love. And I'm very sorry for them, but that's how scared, that's how hurt they are. This is stuff that happens on this planet all the time. Unfortunately, people just running from it. So we have to learn, there's another group now of people that do know what love looks like. They do know how to identify it. They do choose to breathe it in and integrate it and then give thanks for it. Not just thanks for the person who showed them love, but I made a healthy choice today. I trusted and it worked out. And if I were you, if you're the type that says, but I did that and it did work, but then a week later the person turned on me, so now it wasn't love. Oh, wait. Breathe in what you believed to be love. When it goes wonky, let it go. You can move on, but try not to lose the gratitude for when love did show up. But it ended up being wonky, and it's going to on planet Earth. Because unless you're dealing with purely divine beings that have no issue at all, no history, no patterns, no ego, no nothing, there's going to be a day when you go, I've never felt so much love from somebody, and oh my God, it's so wonderful. And then you saw him eating a burger, and you're like, oh my God, I thought they were loving, but they can't be loving if they ate a burger. Who are you to say? That means that you talk love, but then you see indigenous people once upon a time living off animals, and you're cursing all of them? Who are you to do such a thing? What do you know? I just know it's not right to kill anything. Listen, you're not in them. You're not in their lives. Just look at you. You should be looking at why you hate meat eaters rather than what made meat eaters meat eaters. You're devouring them verbally. And that's a little better than them devouring an animal when they've asked for it to surrender its spirit for them. I just learned, you respect where people are at. As crazy as the behaviors can become, try to be patient. You don't know anything. We can say to ourselves, it's not me saying it to you, we don't know anything. Like, what do I know? It's like, this is what's right. You have to eat this way. You're saying there's never been a holy meat eater. You're saying there's never been a holy vegetarian or vegan. Just love. They're all on a path to God. Everyone's seeking the light of God. And I'm sorry that they don't do it your way. But if they did, then they would be joining a group of people that hate meat eaters. And I don't think that's a good group for them to join. Join Christ consciousness. Join the group of love. And then you'll notice, it's amazing. I never even noticed what you ordered for dinner. I never even noticed what you ate, and I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you what your sexual preference is. I didn't ask you I don't care. And some people, you have to care. Some religions say, if you're truly faithful to that religion, you're supposed to do nothing but sit around and pick at people. Because it's the love of God, because a good parent does reprimand their children. Yeah, but you're not a good parent, so don't reprimand me. Just turn it back and stop. No, a good parent, like God, wants us to reprimand, and verbally fault find with people to let them know they're off the path. Off whose path? God's path. Who has that down? So Jesus himself, like, who of you is without sin? I'm just paraphrasing the story, but what he was saying was, listen, who of you is without sin? So shut up. That's not in the scriptures. That's just my, New Testament as Michael would share it. But what a great thing I could do, man. Just rewrite some of that. And the Lord saith, shutteth uppeth. Knock it offeth. But enough is enough. And he did that. He said that to us. When you say you love God, but you're fault finding, you're a hypocrite. Because if you love God, you'll be as God. And God doesn't actually sit around and go, I don't like that. I don't like that. God's holding this presence of bliss. It cannot actually find fault. Now that's going to really rile some people up. God is nothing but the fault finder. It looks to purge all of your evil out of you. No, it actually sees us without the evil and waits around patiently for us to get over ourselves, to stop nurturing evil in ourselves. And one of the biggest ways that we nurture evil is fault finding. So we're not asked to just search for the light of God. And we're not even just asked to just search for love, a greater love. Because if you're not realizing you're running from it, hiding from love, it's not going to help much. Stop. Breathe it in. Even if you're careful. I don't want to breathe in too much love. I got to check it out first. Make sure it's safe. So then you just sit there instead of in the presence of another, when you're making love, when you're cooking food for them. Love, 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 love. Great. But you might have to and realize, it didn't kill me, did it? No. Try a little more. At what point are you going to get past the little sucking quick breaths to realize you did not spontaneously combust? Maybe it's okay. Maybe just try it. And you try it wherever you can start. Don't go full on, and don't go to a bar tonight, get wasted with somebody and then they left me the next morning. Why were you there trying it that way? How about starting in any container of safety and let the container that is you and your own boundaries, let it grow. Let it grow and grow. So you're owning it. And every so often there'll be ouch. Just one step back. Don't take 10 back. Don't make an excuse to trust nobody and love nobody because of a thing. See it as oops, and then come back, wait a moment, breathe, test it a little bit, and then come out again. This is what we have to do. Pain and patterns of life must not immobilize us. We have to find a reason and a way to see a safety and come out more. So in that sense, if all you've got is, well, I'm going to try this out. Where are you going to go try it out? Start with you're standing alone in your house. Breathe fully. Well, what? Do you still believe in a boogeyman under your bed? He's not going to bother you while you're breathing in anyway, unless he's quick, and he can run over and stop you from breathing in fully. So breathe in. You did it. Yes. Now the second thing is give thanks. You did it. Credit yourself. Oh my God. I thought there was no way I could trust anyone, but I did. Me. Because I can't trust anybody else. So start there. Then expand it to your cats. And I know you could be breathing and one starts going, just say, get behind me, Satan. Breathe. Chances are it's not going to overtake you. Chances are. And if it can, you have bigger issues than we're talking about. Wow. Anyway. So instead, breathe. And then come to the center and breathe. And go to the store and breathe. And realize, I went to the store and I picked up some whatever, you pick up. And when you were there were 3 people that smiled. 2 of them said hello. Another person, separate from them, just gave you an odd look. Breathe in the 3 smiles. Breathe in the good. Breathe in every success. Every possible success. The less we're willing to own and give thanks for positives, the less they can expand, honestly. And I know that sounds counterintuitive to people who have been hurt. They need a lot of convincing. So I'm telling you, it's okay to only a little bit of faith today. Breathe in a little bit of trust today, just so we're getting somewhere. You see? Progress. You're just choosing to not be immobilized by the world that's trying to paralyze everybody. See? Politics, some of you don't like. Okay, great. You have good reason to not like it. It's all this bogus hypnotic stuff that they preach. But do you think they could have gotten away with creating such a weird system if people didn't live in fear? Wow. For you in the audience online, there was a big ooh with that one. Yeah, see? It's true. Like, yeah, they can only move in on people that are open to that. When we find ourselves so clear and centered, you won't even have government. And I'm not doing a political speech about it. I'm saying we need it because we think we're so screwed up we need to be governed. When we realize, and the book of Revelation tells us, the time will come when the laws and consciousness of God will be written in our hearts, no longer on paper, stone, or computers, or wherever else you think you need it. You won't be seeing even traffic signs, and I'm not anti-traffic cops. I'm saying you won't. You'll just always drive courteously, lovingly, which sounds strange. How do you lovingly drive? Does it mean always smiling? I don't know. It might be smiling if that's what love feels like today. But it might be letting people cut in. It might be just singing while you drive. Whatever, but the laws would be written in our hearts. We'll know. You won't need a paper to tell you you're married. You'll either feel that way or you're not. And either one is okay. Everything starts to become very Tao-like, Zen-like, peaceful-like, centered-like. And I really love that concept because the light of God is here. The love of God is here, should be felt. But we cut off from the light, can't feel real love if you don't let it come from its source. Do you want to feel real light, real love? Then you got to go to the source. So one of our solutions is, if you want any of these, go to the source of them. So some people will say, well, yeah, man, I want to feel the light of God. I want to feel the love of God. But they're trying it in micro doses, literally and figuratively, down in their human self. So they actually think, one group thinks that getting a little stoned is what that is you're trying to steal heaven. You're trying to fabricate heaven while you live in hell. And the same goes not just with substances and addictions, even the groups that are into manifest a new car. Show the world you are wonderful. As soon as I need to show anything, I'm already off. This should just be like this flow. It really, creation does work like that. If I'm in touch with the light of God, it's incredible. I let it flow through and become love. Then vibration, then sound or color, and then manifestation. So creation is a process of the highest imperceptible presence of bliss, but it then comes down to a vibration, what we would call light, and then love. And these become sound and they become color and we're moving down the chakras. By the time it hits the root chakra, you should be seeing in manifestation something that was not inhibited by anything that started here. It should flow straight through. Well, if you're an artist, a really good one, and you believe in receiving downloads, you'll know how frustrating it can be because some people, so eccentric in a good way in their creativity, Mozart, Beethoven, even John Lennon, they said constant frustration because they would hear or experience something higher here and they could never get it all the way through. I knew of one artist and he started inventing for himself, paint colors. He said, I don't paint with pigments anymore. I paint with light. I paint with light. So all of his paintings are more like glowing colors. They weren't just like dead pigments. And I'm not putting down dead pigments. So if there's any dead pigments out there, please don't write in, okay? Send in complaints. But aliveness, can you imagine? Aliveness. I remember I was doing a session with somebody, and it started sometimes when it's relevant, I do past lives or whatever's coming up. So I remember this guy, and I was getting all excited at what was coming through, and he was a little bit not certain how to take all this. And I said, in an ancient time, you were, I think it was Japan, this is like 30 years ago, and I said, and you had all these strips of bamboo, and you painted on them, but as the wind would blow, the bamboo would shift and it would keep changing the images. So it was living, it wasn't a painted canvas of bamboo. It was alive. Every little movement, it would still add up to something else. There was never, oh, let me straighten that bamboo so that it corrects the picture. It was like alive. So it's the same with music and any form of creativity, including what downloads you get on parenting, partnership, lovemaking. Everything can be this living experience. Now, if you walk around in a living experience, the world's going to call you nuts. How you doing today? Well, how am I doing? Yes. All the time. You know, and they're like, 911. We have a all the time kind of person here. It is hard to be understood when you're like, like maybe people that can't speak, maybe people that are mute are actually so alive, so awake, and they can't put things into words. Maybe that's an aliveness rather than a disability, right? Maybe if I can't hear, it's because I'm tired of hearing you. I'm tired of hearing this world. I'm tired of the hate, so I shut it off. I get it. Why hurt people hurt things and other people? Because we're hurting it. We shift into selfishness. We shift into, because I can't afford to be loving to others. I barely have any myself. That's how some people live, and that's what it means to say, forgive them, they know not what they do. However, opposite to that, what it is like to be alive. You just tend to smile more. So the light of God, the love of God, when you let it come through, it becomes the life of God. And the life of God, what does that look like? Balance, first of all. You're not acting all cosmic, but you don't have it together on other levels. Balance in health, fitness, balance in all things. Because if I'm truly plugged into light and love, I have a life of God. I feel like I'm walking in the light of God, which is by default almost the same as just calling it mastery. You're so plugged in, what you do, everything comes to life. You can see things more fully than people. If you're a healer, you're not a linear, I have a technique. When I learned healing arts as a kid, I started off with doing the techniques. Why? Because that's what I was told you're supposed to do. You're supposed to follow a treatment routine if you're into acupuncture, acupressure, Reiki, reflexology, whatever. So I was taught as a kid, those are the treatment routines. But I immediately started first blending them all. That's the first thing I started doing, which I was told was a no-no. But I'm like, how could you not blend them? They're all the same. I see that. I can see they're all, and they're like, no, what do you mean? Don't you see it? So there's the excitement. So I went from linear learning one way and trying it that way, but started seeing the connection of them all, which is already opening your heart, your mind, and your healing sessions, your abilities. After seeing the connection, then all of a sudden the pieces also disappear, and whatever you do at any moment is happening. It's kind of like, musically speaking, improvising. And all of a sudden something's happening through you. Great things can happen through you. You could say, well, like Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull, never learned how to play flute. He just went, well, I'm not really that cute. So I don't think I could do like the upfront lead guitarist. He's like, I'm just not really a cute guy where, the people be like, oh man, great guitar. He's going, I got to do something eccentric. So he decides to sit around and try flute with a rock band. That's like saying, hey, can I join Metallica? I play violin. They're going to go, how do you fit in? Oh, I don't know. I got long hair. So Ian Anderson's going, I don't know. And then he becomes, with no training, he just learns the flute. He's done it in other times. The guy's got skills that came from other times. And it wasn't until later in his life, he has a daughter, she goes to college and she's learning to play flute. She comes home and says, Dad, my instructor said, you don't play flute correctly. Okay, this is like, he's like crazy great on flute. But he goes, she was right. I always had this baby finger dangling, and I was told, no, the placement of the fingers is wrong. So I learned the right way, and I still play. But how bizarre, how cool that he just did what he felt, and it worked. And so many, many stories, obviously, in each of our lives, let alone around the world and throughout history, where people, they hear something and just practice following it, trust it. I know that if that one finger isn't doing what it's supposed to, yeah, maybe people will find it and criticize and say you don't play well, but you did play well. So breathe it in. See? Breathe it in. Try things out. Now, not all the things will work. You can say, well, I'm feeling an inspiration to carve sacred prayers onto pieces of rice. And it may be that everybody would love and honor that you do it, but they can't read it. So they might go, I love what you do, man, but no, I can't buy it. So you're wondering, why don't my pieces of rice sell? It took you 40 hours to carve the Old Testament onto a piece of rice, and you want paid for 40 hours worth of work. It's a piece of rice. I don't care what's on it. I don't care if you've got the Beatitudes, the Lord's Prayer, the Old Testament, whatever's on it. I'm not paying $800 for it, but I deserve it. That's my work. Well, if it's your work, then you're happy with it as it is. Good. If you get hungry, have a piece of rice. But I'm not paying you $800 for the piece of rice. So you and I have to be responsible enough to know. Inspiration, don't blame God when it goes wonky somewhere. God gives you light perfectly. But I feel like I'm living in darkness. I'm going through the dark night of the soul. What do you think the dark night of the soul is? It's all the stuff in you that isn't illuminated yet. Yeah, and I wish God wouldn't do that. No, it's stuff you don't have illuminated. So God's going, this is going to hurt a little. You might feel a little pressure. It's called the dark night of the soul. But what we're going to do with this is let you see areas of your life that you need to bring more light into. So it's actually constructive. We don't have to go through that darkness to get to the light, but humans usually choose it that way. So I want to know, I want to feel the light of God. So it's inspiration. There's these three things you must get in touch with, not one. You can't just go to the root level and say, I want a car, manifest a car, and think you've got it together. Did you have this intact? Did you have this intact? You got a new car. Are you sharing it? Then it's not coming from here. Are you crediting it to the source of all good? Then it's not coming from here. I am not impressed that you, the little ego you, manifested a new car. Just because you go into a bank and rob a bank, you don't go, look, I developed greater prosperity consciousness. No, you didn't. You stole it. You're trying to steal heaven by having experiences, let's say, with substances, or by manifesting a car, anything outside. Go to God, man. You're a child of God. This is your parent, your ultimate spiritual parent. I love you, God. I honor you. I thank you for being what you are. And God is not what you think it is, what it is. Surrender what you think is God, because even that carries some weird programs. I hope God's in a good mood because I'm about to pray and I don't want it to get mad at me. I know that sounds ludicrous, but subtly, look at these things. The singer from Aerosmith, Steve Tyler, he said, always on tour, he'd go on flights. And he said, and he used to fly, the eccentric musicians, he used to fly with a tape recorder. And he said, because whenever the plane was going to go down finally, he wanted to record a goodbye message to his mother. But that's a weird thing to be waiting for. Any moment now. Do you understand? Well, that's it's called a phobic, a fear of flying. There's psychological names. There's chapters in books on it. That's not what it is. It's a fear of God. You think God's going to strike you down. That's what it really is. You see? And some people learn to get that. I'm married, but I know they're going to cheat on me any moment. And they may, I understand, and I'm sorry. But my fear of it is always a fear of God. I know it looks like it's a fear of dating, partnership, commitment. All of our fears are ultimately laid on God, and we don't even realize it. So why do I live in the dark? Because you don't trust the light. Practice it. Try it. Just put it out there. Hey, God, it's me. And then just get ready, because lightning bolts could come. But they don't. You go, you know what, God, I'm going to say something really weird, God. I can see at times how I feared you. If I really practice this idea that fear of anything is a fear of God, and it seems ludicrous to my soul, my soul, this is ludicrous and I'm sorry. Teach me, show me how it feels to trust you. Show me the gifts that come from living in the light of God. And then just watch, wait, feel for it. Inspirations start coming. Solutions to problems and so on. It doesn't matter if you're an academic scientist, theorems will come to you. They're still coming from God, even though you don't attribute God to it. And you can't usually go into university and say, God gave me this theorem. They're gonna slander you. So maybe that's not the right thing for you today. But learn to trust that that's where it's coming from. Live in the light of God. Live in the love of God. And recognize when you fear love. Keep an eye out for it. When you think it's going to leave you any minute, that's not allowing it fully. But I'm also not saying to live dangerously in it by being careless in your decision making. Lastly, walk in the light of God all the way, living life in God as best you can. What does that look like? Like I said, balance. Your diet, your health, your friendships. This 3D world should be reflecting the light of God. How thoroughly does it come through? How much comes through? Let's pretend it starts on a 10, on a scale. It's 10 with God. By the time it reaches the heart, it's a 6. By the time it reaches the root, maybe for the average person, it's a 2 or 3. Well, I manifested a new car. Don't care, you're still a 2. Well, I learned to, and I fix, and I make my life happen, and I'm empowered, and I know how to. You're a 2. You're still talking, so you're a 2. Pray, give thanks, and when you're really in touch with living in the light of God, you smile more. And I don't just mean like, hey, I mean there's a contentment. There's this, like you're in on a secret. I used to actually work hard to get a car. Now, as soon as I have the thought, it manifests somehow. It's like wizardry, right? Right? It's like so beautiful. And that's what wizardry was about. Plugging in and allowing the real magic to move through you. So it's so beautiful. Yes, it can involve cars and health and fitness, and maybe you look good and all. Great. But you don't make that the God. You allow the light to flow through the love and the love to flow through to the living essence every day. And so if you say you feel love, one of your final decisions is going to be, if I'm not the type that runs from it, doesn't know what it looks like, fears it in any way, how do I eventually achieve love? And the ultimate final piece, besides giving thanks, is to share it. What form you share it is up to you. It might be a smile, it might be a hug, it might be a hand on someone's back who's struggling. What form the love takes varies from person to person, clearly. But to recognize you are ultimately the one that's going to say, this is a form. I want to learn to be so plugged into God. I want to know all the way to the 3D level how to share my love. Today it's gifting financially. Today it's patience. That might be the form for somebody. But for me personally, the more I feel plugged in, the more I feel alive. The more my hands, you'd start channeling. Originally, hand mudras weren't to make yourself spiritual. They were an expression of spirit moving through you, so your hands started doing magical things. But they're talking. And the hand mudras all mean different things. Jesus had a hand mudra, and it looks something like this. And when you interpret the letters of the fingers, it means I am the Christ. So Jesus had a hand mudra. Buddha has hand mudras. But so do you. Maybe you don't practice it as an actual ritual anymore. But this is a hand mudra. So it's, never mind. But some of them express anger. Some of them express peace, presence, gratitude. When you do this, look at how many of us do that nowadays. When we're feeling grateful, we automatically kind of, what do you think that says? From my heart, thank you. Even though you're not thinking the words, your hands follow. But we've forgotten how to live in that. So yoga asanas, they're a language. They're an expression. In Tantra, people are going, oh, that's that thing where you fool around in all kinds of positions. No, you're weird. Listen, you're projecting you onto a sacred thing. Even that, like yoga, I mean, that's why they call it tantric yoga, because it's positions, but the positions are expressions of what's happening right now. My love for you, I want to feel your presence, I want to look at you, I want to experience you, and so on, so on, so on. Everything is like a mudra. Hugging someone is a mudra. It's called a body mudra rather than hand mudra. But they're all expressions. This thing here is a place, a signpost of mudras. The smile means something. A conniving, grin of some kind is different. Sadness. You're not bad for having sadness. It's a mudra, and it's telling me you're hurting. How can I help you today? Your whole body is giving language. Your whole body is saying, I'm sad today. And I stand like this, I breathe like that. People just don't realize, learn to read the signs, right? Don't just favor the signs of people that smile at you. Understand there's people that are hurting, and they aren't needing your smile. They need you to feel what they're feeling. So let them know, whether it's a hand gesture like this on their back, whether it's taking their hand, whether it's this posture, whatever it is, you're always communicating. It's not just God's voice speaks to me all through the day. My voice speaks to you all through the day. And what am I saying? What's that say? What does that say? What does that say? Turning my back on you. All of it has meaning. The native tradition, as I'm closing now, the native tradition where they would have people that had complaints come to them, to the elders, and then share the complaints. The elders would listen, breathe it in, offer advice. If a day later, a week later, a month later, some of these indigenous peoples, they would listen again. You come in with the same thing. And again, and there's a point where they would hear your complaints, they gave you advice, and you're still coming back with the same complaints. After a few of these experiences, you'd go in and start to share your complaint, they would all turn their backs on you. And it didn't mean we don't like you, we disapprove. It means you're not listening. All these traditions, all these statements, they mean something. We think to make love is an interaction between two people. It's supposed to be a statement that we're not two. When you smoke a peace pipe with another, you're not supposed to be just handing it to another. We're in this together. It's a statement of peace, not a wishing for peace. So the consciousness, the highest consciousness needs to be brought into everything. A 12-step program is supposed to include God for a reason. Because it's saying, I of myself haven't done real well. I haven't made all the best decisions. I'm very clear that I'm hurting in some way, broken in some way. I want a higher power to help me out. Beautiful. And some new age kinds of people think it's somehow humiliating to call upon God when you're supposed to be God. That's not humiliating. That's reality. The day that you realize you are the God you were once praying to will be the day you've completed the journey of humility. But you have to play as though you're praying to something for now, because the part of you that thinks it's praying, that thinks it has problems, that thinks it knows the solution is very messed up. So that's the part you don't want to affirm. It is God. It's already telling you that. You let go of that and learn to smile and learn to be humble and learn, like to God, your parent, the way a child should be to their parents. They trust in you. They reach out for you. They pick you up. And the child knows somehow instinctively, thank you. When you pick it up, it reaches, you pick it up, it hugs back. There's a language to that. And we have to learn that same language of healthy dependence upon God. And then what starts to happen when I get that is that I learn to have healthy dependence on you, meaning I learn to trust the trustworthy parts in other people, and then people don't hurt you as much because they don't see targets to go after. And if some people are so intent on hurting, they're not in your life as much. It's not as likely because they go, you're boring. You don't have any targets. And you're just like, I know, isn't that cool? No, it isn't. I'm leaving. And let them leave. It's amazing. Walking in the light, living that love, living the life, a life of balance, a life of integration, a life of expressing the presence of God. And it doesn't mean we have to dress a certain way, we have to behave a certain way, certain haircuts. The outside isn't so much the emphasis. It's that this highest of heaven is coming through into your day-to-day life as much as possible. And remember, sharing it is one of the best ways to integrate anything from the higher realms. Share it. Please take a few centering breaths. Breathing calmly. Centering into everything that was shared today. All of these concepts, the return to our innocence, the return to Lemuria times, Eden times, trust in God. The people in certain civilizations, Lemuria or today for some perhaps, what does it mean to live in such a place? Lemuria meaning the Maria, right? The goddess, the divine mother. So learning to trust the Divine Mother brings us to that ancient time. But even greater, total remembrance of living in Eden, walking in Eden. We were told Eden is the place where all needs were filled. You cannot have all needs filled without the love, without the light, the love, and the life of God. That's how it happens. You can't steal Eden. You can't steal heaven. You can't steal someone else's prosperity consciousness. You are what you are. And if you want to raise the bar, raise the light. Allow the love and live the life. In this moment, Holy Spirit of God, we give you permission to show us a weak link or links, weakest link in our lives right now that you would have us work on to better prepare and live in that light, love, and life of God. Show us areas we can work on. Is it impatience? Is it communication? Is it old resentments? Is it old beliefs about ourselves? Let that show itself. Give yourself a moment and let it appear. If what you see is a person's face, it could be you have issues with them, or it could be you have issues like them. If it's symbols, just ask for the interpretation. Divine Mother, Holy Spirit of God, help me to see this and own this. Help me to not deny it or minimize it or be afraid of it. What you're showing me as an issue, let me just simply recognize this is somehow here, reflecting to me, showing me something to learn. And I accept that. Even if I don't understand what it is, I accept it. In this moment, I affirm you will find no resistance in me. I am choosing total trust in my highest spiritual self, my soul, heart and soul, and in my life, in my human being, all trusting you. And I give this to you and I ask you lift it out of me, be it an addiction, a pattern, a thought, a fear. Just lift it out of me. I know you can. I'm participating. I'm not telling you to fix things for me that I don't own. I get it. And lift it from me. Lift it from my life, my soul, my beliefs. And by default, this leaves room in my soul. What was occupied before with hurts, wounds, patterns, there's empty space. If I don't move something into that space, the old will just return. That's the nature. Universe abhors a vacuum, so it'll grab the old and bring it back. I refuse. So instead, I ask you to fill this new space in me with your presence. Your presence in the form of, and she's open to your request. You want God's presence in the form of what? You can say whatever you want, God. Or you can say greater peace, greater abundance. Whatever it is, hear the words and breathe them into your heart. Commit to it. Breathe it in. Anchor it there for half a second. Exhale and let it wash over you with the words, and so it is, and then do it again. Just a few times. Believe that you are filling that space with something new, more of God. Believe that and give thanks. Really feel hope, hopefulness, an attitude of yes, yes, yes. This is going to make a difference. How can it not? Our outer life comes from our inner consciousness, our inner beliefs, and you just shifted your beliefs. How can it not be reflected? Unless it's reflected, you choose not to see it or you run from it. See every little or large representation of it. Every manifestation, give thanks for it. And for this and for all healing, we not only ask for a shift in ourselves, but we ask that it manifest in the lives of others around us. And so it is. Slowly back to the room. Take your time, breathe this in, integrate this. And when you're ready, share, if you don't mind, how you feel or what you're gaining from this service. What's happening for you? What did you hear that made sense to you? What might be most helpful in your life or in the lives of people around you? Yes, sir.
Yes, it was like the whole theme for me was relinquishing judgment.
Relinquishing judgment.
On self and others.
Nice.
Once the self
On self and others, yes. Relinquishing judgment. Well said.
automatic when we do it for ourselves.
Yes.
Pass it on.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes?
There will be a point when I realize I am that which I crave.
Yes. Isn't that cool?
That was beautiful.
Yeah, there'll be a point, and there actually is a point where you realize you're the God you've been praying to. But you don't want to like land that in arrogance. So it's okay for now to know that, know the truth, but respect the illusion. So go ahead and pray to something, God, and one day God's going to go, man, you've been talking to yourself all this time. Yes. All paths are one. They're just people's variations. And what's really beautiful is that all roads lead to home, or to Rome, they used to say, but all roads lead home. It doesn't matter what it looks like, even the most greatest ignorance and, the person fighting the most against God is because they're afraid of God, which means they actually believe in God. The person, there is no God. Really? No, I'm serious. There is no God. I know. Because the more they say it, the more they actually believe. A strange note, Jesus' dialogues with the woman who scribed A Course in Miracles, she brought up Sigmund Freud because she was a clinical psychologist and psychiatrist. And Jesus said, I always liked that guy, Freud. And he said he's so funny because he was so anti-God, anti-religion. And he said to her, but he was actually very religious. But he feared it because he had so much devotion. He was afraid of losing control into it. So he had to make a system that nicely pushes it away so you can analyze it. Oh, God is nothing but people's superstitious nonsense to help them cope with things in their lives that they can't control. The whole thing he's saying, I'm terrified of what I can't control. So I'm going to get all of you, line you up, and start analyzing you. The more you analyze something, the more you're pushing it away. Why? Because there's something about it you're afraid of. Yes? Humility brings grace. Yes, it does. It's the original simplicity. Yes, dear?
When I was in high
Nice.
and I was, getting some good results. So one person, a musician, said he could set mine to tunes,
Right.
and that would be good. And
Nice.
but at first I was kind of shocked. I thought,
So your first moments of following inspiration, and in your case, writing poetry, you saw the naysayers or, people that would make you question it. And that's amazing because that's a person who doesn't understand poetry. Because Michael, share a poem, okay, love. Now somebody can go, you didn't even say anything that rhymes. They don't understand. If poetry is pure poetry, it's inspired, it comes through, so I can't fault find. I can't. It doesn't make sense to find fault with it because then I'm not in my poet. You see? It's very interesting. This world will slam you for a lot of things, and it's because they are afraid. Give thanks for every bit you can of healing the hurts from those people, those behaviors. We're going to take up our collection and do the closing prayer. Thank you very much. Please just be as generous as you can be. The folks online, there's a button you can click, and then you can make donations there. The team's working on creating one of the squares that you can scan to make donations more easily, and I think they'll have that done this week. I'm saying that so that they know that I want them to get that done this week, because we've been talking about it for a month and it hasn't gotten finished yet. So there's that. Okay, now, the donations you share, they go in the purple bags when you're in this room. In the basket, you can put any extra donations. We use that for people of lesser means or towards special projects. And we appreciate, we got a nice donation from one person to help us because we're replacing all the fluorescent lights, the ceiling lights, with something healthier and cleaner. So we're appreciating that. And it takes a couple grand to do that. So any extra donations towards that are appreciated. Hold your love offering to your heart with full intention, full sense of blessing. Understand, if you plug into God and affirm or pray or bless somebody with something, it's going to happen. So hold this in your intention. Together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you very much. So we'll close with our closing prayer in a second. Just a couple quick announcements. Remember that the bookstore is open, has a lot of great things, but one thing is everything you buy is about on average, 30% less than other places you might buy them. We have a healing room here that's the yurt with the crystal bed in it, which is profoundly powerful in so many ways, really is. And we have some wonderful treats that they're going to uncover when you're leaving today in the foyer there. A variety of 6 or 7 different types of cookies, vanilla or white chocolate, macadamia nuts, chocolate chip, all those kinds of things. They're there for you, a few bucks each if you wouldn't mind. And we also have a healing room a block away, which is where we have available massage, lymphatic massage, frequency healing, all kinds of things. And coming on Sunday, November 30th, I'm reminding you, we have our once-a-year workshop on awakening Christ consciousness. I will facilitate that, but sign up ahead if you can. November 30th, it's 12 to 5, so it's an afternoon workshop. Immediately following today's service, there's a chaplain meeting. Is that true? No. I didn't think so, but somebody has it, it's on here. Okay, please remember that we have Zoom groups. Every Monday, I have a Zoom group. You just go to a Facebook page called Friends of Michael Mirdad, and then you'll be admitted to the Zoom group where every Monday we talk about a wide variety of things for an hour and a half or so, or stay in as long as you like. But it's really beautiful, open-ended. But we also have another Zoom group, Daughters of Heaven, which focuses on the book, the website, the materials related to us all learning to awaken and become Daughters of Heaven. It's kind of like advanced light workers. So we have a group there that meets every other Saturday. Just go to the Facebook group, Daughters of Heaven, and then that'll get you entrance into that group. I think that's everything off these announcements. A last couple. Let's see. I'll do that one next time. One thing I wanted to say is this week we have, it was kind of funny, all in like one day, 3 of our board members all had a birthday. Now, I'm not supposed to mention this, but I am anyway. Birthday people, the 3 of you, or anybody that's born, in this sign or this month, but those 3 for sure, please stand. Now wait. We have to identify them first. There's Judy. It's kind of funny. I was going to call the others to stand up first. Where's the others? Joy, where are you? Joy. And Dawn. There you are. The 3 of them. Together, please, and online. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear all of you. Happy birthday to you. Yes. Fantastic. It's kind of funny because you guys were, instead of just letting us announce and introduce them all, everybody was applauding at each one as though they're really appreciative that you made it. Ooh, good for you. I'm kidding, but happy birthday to you. Blessings, don't forget, every word is very weak these days in human beings. Center into God and your words become empowered. There are people just in the last week, for the birthdays, we shared a blessing with one of the people, all of the girls that had a birthday, just a brief thing, and we did a blessing. And the immediate results still surprised some of them. And I'm like, don't let it surprise you. So we bestowed a blessing, and it's very powerful. Center into God and affirm the truth. Just like the fairy godmothers in fairy tales, leaving a blessing on that child, right? Maleficent, kind of the movie, the stories, a blessing from the fairy godmother. Be that. Access the inner fairy godmother, the inner fairy godfather, the inner God presence, and give people blessings. The ancient Israelites really understood the power of that, and they would bestow blessings down to each other, and it would show very firmly. Indigenous people understand the power, but the average human people in the average human race, everything gets watered down and forgotten. So bring it back and understand. Give your children a blessing, even without telling them if you must. Give them a blessing of, despite what's going on, you're loved. Start feeling the love. It's here. Bless you. I bless you with the peace I feel, the peace I am. I bless you with abundance. Instead of just words that are just lifeless. Light of God, love of God, live the God presence. And blessings is one way to really beautifully do that. Please stand for our closing prayer. Send her into a place of gratitude. Gratitude for whatever you heard, people you met today, people that were familiar and you said hello to and smiles. Do this. The veils are thinning between reality and illusion, but it also means the veils are thinning between dimensions. And some people are being tormented by dark beings sometimes, aliens, dark beings, or whatever. Send them a blessing of protection, not fear-based, just an affirming blessing of God's presence with them. Because little voices are leaking into the heads of some, tempting them to do things they wouldn't have otherwise done, feel things, believe things that they wouldn't have otherwise thought, believed, felt. Hold that affirmation, like saying, hang in there to each other. Gratitude for Camellia, who produced all these cookies that we can share when you grab some after the service. Folks online, try showing up. You could have had some too. God bless you. So we breathe this in and affirm the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with you all. Thank you.